Hey guys, it's Tima again, back with another quick video on InsertArg, another way to use it. So we had a question come up about how to read certain attributes into the chat just to get information from them. For instance, you want to read the color text from a spell or the way a power was built in another game, and you just want to read it because you don't want to run it. You don't want to trigger API interactions. So InsertArg can help do that. Let's see how. Okay, so the first thing, I ran bang IA to get my config up, and you can see I'm using InsertArg is version 1.3. The core library is 1.3. That's the current version as of making this video. So if you have those versions, you should be able to do what I'm about to do. So again, this is a Champions, a Hero 6E game, and a Hero 6E character. I know the question came up in the context of D&D, but it doesn't really matter. It's just different fields. So you'll see where we can swap those out. So we're going to work with this character, Heretic. Again, I've worked with him before. And looking at him, he's got a repeating section for powers. And these are the powers that I want to read. This color text here, I want to read this into the chat without triggering the power. So here's what we're going to do first. First, we're going to run X-ray, which is going to let us walk his character sheet. I'm going to X-ray Heretic, and then I'm going to X-ray his powers section at position 0. I'm going to start there, that's fine. And you can see all the sub-attributes for his repeating section powers. You can see that the name of his first power comes from the power name sub-attribute. This is actually longer, right? If you know about how character sheets are built, it's repeating underscore powers underscore section ID, right? So this is just the end. This is just the suffix. But these are the important parts that we need. So that's where the name is coming from. And here's the color text that I want to output to chat. And that's in the power suffix sub-attribute. So I know these two pieces of information now. Let me see if I can get my buttons built. So a lot of times I will just chat to myself until I get the output correct, and then I'll use it where I want to use it. So I'm going to say bang IA. I'm going to whisper to myself. And with whisper, my command line starts with one word. My hook is show. So I'm going to start building my command line here. I'm going to use the get repeating function, and get repeating is going to get information out of a repeating section, exactly what we want to do here. We have to know the character we're getting it from. That's the C argument, and I could say Heretic, but since I'm chatting as Heretic, I'm going to say get me, and that's a function, so I got to open and close those brackets. Get repeating also needs to know the section. The section here is powers. You can see I was X-raying the powers section. It also needs to know the suffix that names each element. That's the naming suffix. And remember we said that was power underscore name. So hash power underscore name. Get repeating also needs to know the action suffix, the piece we want to run, we want to output, we want to read. That's the power. So we'll say this action suffix is power. And then one more, we need to know how to output what we return. And I want to output buttons that I'm going to read. So B for buttons, R for read. Let's see what we get. There we go. So now we should have buttons that will read the text that we picked out of the repeating section we picked. So let's do Sight Beyond. Sight Beyond should give us that color text, detect a single thing, exactly what we wanted. So this is pretty good, right, already, but we can make it a little bit prettier. So let's say, in fact, that we wanted to filter this list. Maybe this was more than we wanted. All of these powers here that have the parentheses are behind the scenes. They're actually calls to another script. They don't have a lot of color text to them. So let's filter those out. So in there we go. There's our original call, our get repeating. In here, I want to filter this. So after I told it to output buttons, these arguments can come in any order. I'm going to filter. That's the F. And I want to filter it where it does not contain. So minus the hyphen, and then up arrow F up. That whole combination means does not contain. And I'm going to give it a tick, open parent tick. So I'm saying give me anywhere that it doesn't have a open parent. It should be the rest of them. And get this little pop-up for a macro. Let's see if I can get rid of it somehow here. There it goes. And run that. Okay. So I've dropped all the ones that have parentheses. And they should still be reading. Now you can see they're still whispering to me instead of just chatting. So one more change I'm going to make. That output here, where we set output small b, small r, we are going to not just read, we are going to read. We are going to capital R that read. Capital R is going to send it to chat. We are going to be loud in our reading. So now if I run that, this part is whispered to just me. So I can pick which one I want to read out. I'll say telekinetic fields, and you can see now it is chatting that out. So it chatted out the information. So this would be chatting out the spell contents, the power, color, text, whatever. So we've got our get repeating built. Let's now make it a little bit prettier. We're going to keep it and we're going to drop it into a menu. So I've got a little notepad here. Grab that and paste it, and I'm going to move it out of my way. Now we're going to do a menu instead. So IA menu. If I don't give it any other options, that's the default menu. Menu takes a title, and I'm going to say, let's say, get me, and return my name this time. And I want to then have a row. So a menu gives me a title hook and a row hook. And in that row hook, I am going to use the getRow function. Now getRow defaults to a row element, which is fine. The row element takes a title. And we'll say the title is powers. It takes a color argument, and we'll make that white in X. And it takes a source. Now the source is our get repeating. Right there. So I'm going to drop that into my source and output that. And now we have a pretty menu. Pretty. So maybe this works for you. Maybe you want something on a line. Maybe you want a different line for each button. Maybe that's a better way to organize it for you. So instead of doing in here, I'm in the get row function. I'm going to change that to use the row elem, I believe is what I need. And I'm going to change my output of my get repeating here to be an external label. And let's see what that gets. Okay. Now I have an independent row for each element, and my button over here would do the action. Now, they all say roll. We don't want that. Let's fix it by giving the get repeating one more argument. We're going to give it the roll label. So the roll label is when we're using an external label here, what do we want our button to say? And that can actually be another attribute, or it could just be flat text. I'm going to tell it I want my roll label to be read. I'm going to send that. Looking better. They all say read now. And then the last thing I want to do is, let's see if I can sort this, because these are in the order they're on the I think they're in the order that they're on the sheet, not the order that they were added. But if I have them alphabetized, maybe I can find them quicker in the game. So I'm going to go back into my get repeating function, and I want to give it one more argument, which is the format function. In the format function, I can do order plus, which is ascending. And let's see what that gets. There we go. Cosmic Flare to Cosmic Flare to here to Katana to O, restorative field. They're now in alphabetical order, nicely formatted. So you can do that sorting even when you have the buttons. You could have sorted them here. You can sort them here. And of course, the menu is the default menu. It's the default color. I told this section to be white, but you can tell the menu to be another color if you want to. Here by feeding arguments. That's all documented on the InsertArg documentation, and you can go to that thread. All of these arguments, of course, you can get in your help. Make a help handout. Yeah, I want to overwrite it. You can open it. Here's your help. Or you can run it out of chat, and you can see get repeating help. Has all those arguments we were using. Here's the format. That's the one we added right at the end. And we said O+, which sorted ascending. So you've got a lot of information here, a lot of ways to put it together. But one more time, go back up. We've output information, repeating attributes that we want to read. We've created a menu that will whisper to us, but talk to the entire group, the color text we want them to see. So I hope you found this helpful. Hit me back if you have any more questions. Again, this is Hero 6E, but all you have to do is just substitute in for those naming suffixes. Use X-ray to walk your character sheet and swap in your sub-attribute suffixes. So, like I said, hit me up if you got more questions. But that's it for tonight. All right, take care.